Hey everybody, Adam and Alana here with Hometown Acres. Welcome back. Today we're going to head over to neighbor Doug's house to try to teach Alana here how to weld. Let's head over. All right, so we made it over here to Doug's shop. We're going to start teaching Alana how to weld, but first things first, PPE. So Doug, take it away because I got about 10 minutes worth of welding experience. I'm nowhere near the instructor level that you are here. So.
All right, well. So Adam's got his camera rolling, I've got my camera rolling because we're going to do two different videos here. So if you guys on my channel are wondering what the heck's going on and why you hear Adam in the background, it's because we decided to try it this way. But first I wanted to show Lana the difference between an auto darkening hood and a hood that's always fully dark. So if you want, go ahead and, like I said, put that on and just look through it and tell me what you can see.
Keep in mind, Lana has no idea anything about welding, so this is all brand new.
Okay, so you can see, right? You know, you can see me waving at you?
Yeah.
All right, so go ahead and put this one on now.
No, I can't see anything.
See me waving?
No.
No, that's what I see out of my left eye. I see nothing. So I'll probably be using this helmet when we go through and do the process of welding. Got you a brand new set of safety glasses, so throw those on, make sure they fit.
There we go.
Not bad at all. Okay, so now the other thing we want to outfit you with so you don't ruin your clothes and also so those sparks don't scare you is a welding coat. And it's as clean as I can get it. It's out of the washing machine, but they kind of stay dirty.
Now, Doug, you said you've had half a dozen other women friends over here teaching them how to weld, right?
Boy, that's going to get me in a lot of trouble.
The wives of your other male friends or whoever, family members.
All my life I've been into teaching, if you will, whether it's teaching or coaching or anything like that. I've always enjoyed that aspect of things like that. So any chance I get, I'll take an opportunity where I might have someone that, like Lana, appears to be a little timid, but is willing to give it a try. And I'll say, hey, okay, let's go try and weld. And so, you know, whether it be my friends or my son's friends or whoever it might be, say, hey, you got a minute? And they'll be like, why? I said, well, I want to show you how to weld. Or I taught a bunch of kids how to run the sandblaster that had never seen or done anything like that before, and they thought, wow, that is just absolutely cool.
Yeah.
So one evening we were having a party, if you will, and my son's friends were all here, and there were several girls here that I know had never had that experience, had never done anything like it, just like you're going to get to today. And we went through and did some sandblasting and threw them on the welder, and they just absolutely loved it. Just like, that's the neatest thing in the world. So yeah, I've always enjoyed doing that. And whether it's running a piece of equipment, I say, hey, hop in and give this a try. You know, it's just.
Oh, you got me hooked on the excavator.
Yeah. You know, and we might go out and somebody that's never shot a gun before, say, here, give it a try. Go through all the safety basics of it first. Tell them, you know, this is what you need to watch out for. And let them pull the trigger off one time, and you see that smile come on their face, and you're like, whoa, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I guess that's where we are. So you got your welding coat on, you got your safety glasses on, so let's throw some gloves on you. So I'm going to throw your helmet on now.
Now, the other part of the safety aspect is obviously she's pregnant, and welding throws off fumes, right? So what do we have in place?
Well, it just so happens that this morning I published a video on this dust collector that I've mounted up here on the wall. I've got a fume extractor that also doubles as a dust collector and several other things. So we're going to go ahead and have that hooked up and exhaust any of the fumes out the window. To my knowledge, welding fumes aren't toxic and shouldn't hurt you or won't hurt you, but we're still going to take that precaution anyway.
All right, so we covered PPE. What's next, Doug?
Well, I guess we need to familiarize her a little bit with what she's working with over here on the welding table and stuff like that. So give me a second here and we'll get some of this stuff set up. So now we're going to come over to the welder, and like I said, this is the Miller-Matic 211. It's a dual voltage. meaning it can use 120 or 240 volt.
Okay.
It's set up on 240 volt over here. I like the 240 volt because it welds better. You can get more amperage out of it and more power and all that. So there's a couple settings on the welder here.
And on the side of the welder here, you've got a guide that tells you your thickness of wire and all the settings that it needs to be set at, correct?
Yep. Yeah, and I still reference this it's a best practice guideline. And what it'll do is it'll tell you, and up here it shows the different thicknesses of steel, and then it shows here what different welder settings that it might be. So you might have a flux core, you might have that says, I can't even see
Solid
that.
wire.
Solid wire, 100% CO2. And when you pull that trigger, this continuously feeds,
Okay.
comes through this cable as well as the gas.
That's cool.
And as soon as it touches or comes close to making that electrical charge to the steel, then that starts sparking.
Oh.
And it basically melts this down, and it melts the metal with this filler in it.
I'm just
No.
laughing because Lana's like, oh.
No, but
Like-
I didn't know how I don't know how this works. I didn't know anything.
It's basically
I didn't know there was wire.
an electrical charge melts that wire.
And it melts the steel as well, and melts them together. And that's what, it's just like putting glue on a board or something. It just basically, adheres it together. So that's what we're going to be doing today.
And so before I knew anything about welding, I always thought, okay, I know welders use electricity, and I always thought, is there a risk of shock? And, Doug said you couldn't electrocute yourself if you tried.
Not very easily, no.
Yeah.
So in order to make that electrical charge, as soon as I'm touching the ground and I stick the fork in the outlet, I'm then grounded and get shocked.
Right.
If I jump up in the air, it can magically fly. That's why birds can land on wires.
Yeah.
They don't get shocked.
That's pretty neat.
So same thing with an outlet. So what we've got here is the grounding clamp.
Okay.
And I also have a magnet that's hooked to that. So I've got a clamp and a magnet that I use as a setup for doing that, and we'll go through all that. So if you take that, squeeze it, just so you have an understanding of what it takes to put that on.
Yeah.
A magnet is so much easier. So let's go ahead and put that on the welding table there. Whoops, let me give you a little room.
The flat one is right here.
So go ahead and put that anywhere. Yep. Now take the magnet and put it on there and tell me what's more difficult.
The clamp.
Definitely the clamp. And if we're going to start out with an 1/8" piece of steel, my settings are 6 and 70. So you come out front here and you'll see that you've got voltage and wire speed. So there's your 6, and then you can dial that over to 70. The other thing is I've got my bottle turned on up here. Or no, I don't. I wanted you to try that.
Okay.
So you're going to always have that turned on, and if you don't turn it on, your weld will look like crap. So righty-tighty, lefty-loosey.
How far do I go?
All the way open and then back just 1/8 of a turn, just so you don't jam it to the end. Perfect. Just like that. You're all set. Now there's a switch on the back of the blue machine, right back here.
Okay.
Slow rocker switch, so turn it on.
Want me to?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so you're turned on, and now the lights out front have come on.
Okay.
So you're green and you're ready to go. Do it. So you're going to pull that little blue trigger just for a second. Go ahead and pull it. Now turn it so you can see the tip of it, and pull it now.
Oh, okay.
So 2 things. You see the wire coming out, and you also hear that gas coming
Yeah.
out. So pull it again. Okay, you can hear that,
Yeah.
that gas, and you can see the wire.
Okay. You can see that it spins.
Yep, go ahead and pull it for a minute and hold it.
Okay.
All right.
Oh.
All right. That's what they call these, is their welding pliers. They do a lot of different things. So if you needed to get here to crimp on that, to undo that, you've got the cutter in here for cutting your wire, like that. And then if you take the cap off, so go ahead and hold that real tight. So now if I need to take the tip off, it's got this V groove right in through here. That is to unscrew that tip. And then this And here is when you get a bunch of slag and buildup in the end of the cone,
Okay.
you take the pliers, stick it in the end here, and just give it a good twist. And that's what cleans the end of that up.
Multi-purpose tool.
Exactly. So they've made one tool to do all kinds of things that help a welder. So when they're doing welding, they can get that taken care of. So we'll throw that back on. All right, so let's take a second here and we'll get set up and get some steel going. Before we do that, let's have her cut a piece just so you can see what the saw is like.
Yeah, because there's a lot more to welding than just
you have to
welding.
be able to cut, you have to be able to run a grinder and do all that kind of stuff. So, let's ever do one of these. We'll have you cut it in half. You'll push it through and cut it in half, and then we'll have you grind the ends off of it where you're going to weld it or whatever. So we'll go through all that so you get an idea. So here's the on-off switch down here. So I'm going to turn it on real quick. Turn it back off. The number one thing that'll get you in trouble is if you put your hand anywhere near that blade. So always keep your hand outside of the blade. You don't push this thing with all your might. You just basically push it and let the blade do the cutting, and you'll feel it. And it's a real slow process.
Okay.
So as you're pushing through, it doesn't cut like a board where you can go zip and run it right through. Steel's a little different. It goes through a lot slower.
Okay.
So we'll have you just slowly push that through. And what you'll find is when you're cutting this wall, it's a lot slower. And as soon as it cuts through that wall, it's going to just zip right across until it hits the next wall.
Okay.
When you get to this end wall on this side, push it a little bit slower so when you finally cut and break through, you don't lurch forward on you, okay? Keep a good, firm, tight hold on the piece that you're working with, and then just slowly push it through there. You'll feel it. There you go. Now bring your hands away and shut it off. Perfect. A die grinder. And there's two different kinds. Well, there's a lot more than a few different kinds, but these are both cordless. One's a lot bigger and one's a lot smaller. Running a die grinder here is where you got to have a really good grip on what you're doing. You got to keep your hands out of the way, because if you ever filed your nails, it will do that really, really quick here if you let it slip and get into your finger. So
Reminds me of the movie scene from Dumb and Dumber.
yeah. Yep. So we'll go ahead and clean these off, and I'll set both of them up so you can try both grinders. What you're going to do is you're going to have a good hold of this piece of steel. Here's your trigger to turn it on. You're just going to take and turn it on. And you're looking to clean that to the bare steel to where you don't see any more paint or mill scale. This is an old piece of scrap that's got some paint on it. You need to clean that paint off, because if you don't, it leaves impurities into the steel and also won't give you a good ground. So when you go to put your welding gun to it and it touches the paint, it's not metal, so it won't have that good contact there. Would you feel more comfortable with a pair of gloves on?
Maybe. I don't. Possibly.
Probably don't feel comfortable at all, do you?
Yeah.
So now I'm going to take these two pieces and have you weld them together
Okay.
down the length of that. So we need to clean a little bit off of this side, on this side, and a little bit on this side. And for lack of having a 2-hour-long video, I'm just going to go ahead and do this real quick. So now you've got your two clean surfaces that you're going to weld. So we've got this side and this side. this side and this side. And what we're going to do is we're going to take and set them down on the table, and I'm going to have you weld those together. I'll probably clamp them, because when you weld just this surface, they're going to want to, when the steel shrinks, it's going to want to tip up on you.
Okay.
So we'll get that clamp down, tip it up. I think the best way to do this is we're going to use a spring clamp, and we're going to try and get it, and again, that gets hard, but we're going to put it in between there to hold those two together, so when you weld it, it's grounded from the ground clamp and should be all ready to go. We'll go down through there, and you'll get to feel the sparks, the heat, the smoke, and all that, and that's where it's going to get exciting for you. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put my hood on. Get in your comfortable position where you can see everything. And the only thing that I would suggest doing a little bit better on at this time is not lifting your gun away as you come across. So that hand is what keeps you at that same height as you slide across. So whenever you're ready, I'm putting my hood down. It's all right, but you joined those two pieces of steel now. All right? There's your very first piece. Now guess what? Your husband sat here and listened this whole entire time. He's already had 10 minutes of welding practice. He should be a pro. So we're gonna give him some gloves and let him give it a try. We might let a couple sparks hit him. Yeah. But before you pull the trigger, maybe just say eyes or something to let me know you're ready to go.
All right, eyes.
All right, so let's take a closer look at these welds. We have Adam's over here, and we have Lana's over here. Be a little bit fast. So she went across pretty fast because the weld puddle is small and low. And Adam's, he started off pretty good. He's getting a little bit further away. And then I don't know whether he sneezed or had a spark hit him or what happened. And then he stalled out right here. And then he blew off the very end of it and had about an inch of weld wire stick out the end of the gun.
All right, so we made it back over here to our shop, and if you made it this far in the video, you may be wondering, why are we trying to teach Lana to weld here? Because she has no desire to get into the welding trade or really to ever weld again. But if you noticed in that video, Doug was also filming. So in his video, we actually explain why we're trying to teach Lana the basics of welding. So you'll have to go over to One Eye Customs YouTube channel to check that out. On the other hand, I do want to continue learning how to weld and getting better at it and start getting into some welding equipment, welding projects. I'm very much a beginner, and as you guys saw, my welds are pretty terrible right now, but it is nice to be able to fix things and work on things yourself. So that's why I want to learn how. I'm not looking to get into the trade, but I want to be able to fix stuff here on the property. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed this one, give us a big thumbs up, click that subscribe button, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.